We got the flags, and we got to get a seed number. So, Zero, why don't you start out? Give us two numbers.
33.
33. I'll give us 5, 6, 7, and J-Pop three numbers.
I'm gonna give a very mature because somebody's told me in chat 069.
Okay.
Real
The
mature.
number before 70.
Oh, Joe. Whoa, Joe, you got a whole setup on yours. I just kicked your thing on. Very nice.
Yeah, I'm going to try it, see how it works. Hopefully nothing freezes up or crashes during the stream, but we'll give that a try and see how it goes.
Everyone in my chat, I do recommend that you probably go and take a look at Joe's stream. He's got.
Go watch Joe's Abandoned Bros. Just go watch Joe's.
Yeah, he got a sweet setup. I'm just saying.
He's got a setup.
He got a setup. This, like. You better watch out when 7th Saga becomes the hot new retro game to play. We're gonna be at the forefront.
All right. Well, that's gonna happen when.
When it'll happen before I wake up from my wonderful dream.
In fact, you know what I'm gonna do?
Miss Disa, honey, sis. I was like, Misty, Mr. Mistisa. Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
I need my pad of paper here to take some notes.
Oh no, there are two note takers versus a non-note taker. I'm outnumbered, chat.
My desk is a total mess here, so I'm digging through everything here.
All right. I'm going to shift my main feed from my brother down to the phone, and then Joe gets the main feed because his looks nicer.
I have been regulated to secondary screen.
Hello, Devnoctu. Nice to see you. It's been a little while since seeing you, but hope you are having a great evening and enjoy this 7th Saga Randomizer race.
Absolutely. Bro, I gave you the flags. I'm sure you could talk about it once we get started, and maybe some things of what you anticipate of what you'll see.
Sure. Yeah. I did take the. I was like, can I open up 2 instances of the randomizer? I can. So I can. It actually gives me a better context of what's been changed versus the traditional flags. Because I feel like when you talk the randomizer, you could talk the vanilla that's of the game versus what the traditional percent flag, is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you think you have it up on screen too, right?
I had it up screen.
You had it on screen. Okay.
I could bring it back up if you'd like.
No, that's fine. Are we mostly set up for everything else otherwise?
I believe so.
I'm as ready if Joe is ready and if you're ready.
All right. So, Joe, did you guys come up with these options together, or was it like it started with you, then you talked with my brother?
So yeah, I started out with it. What I did is I came up with a light percent flag set, which is close to vanilla, but there are some randomizations. Then what I decided to do, because it seems like every time we run these flags that the items are so cheap and gold is never an issue. So I thought of the idea, why don't we have all the treasure chests be gems, and then in order to make them worth something, we'll have to have higher prices. So the main thing with this flag set is they're randomized with prices. You could get really high prices on certain things, or you could get really low prices on certain things, and then there's gems everywhere in all the chests. So that's kind of the idea behind this. It's randomized, but I believe it's like 50% to 200 on the enemies. All the enemies are in their vanilla locations, and and I believe the so the EXP requirements, that is maximized, so we level quickly, so that's going to make things go quicker. and the gold is at
Vanilla.
0, so nothing is scaled down at all with the gold.
Right.
I don't know, J-Pop, you got it up on your screen. Why don't you go through some of those?
Real quick. Sorry to interrupt. Real quick. You guys must have different seed numbers because Camille's stats are different on both your pages.
What seed are you running? I have 33567 069.
I am gonna check that here because
If you it's in this. It's in the file of that it created. You can also see it there. That's a quick way to know because it always it appends the seed number and the flags to it.
yes, 33567 069. That is what I have.
Let me go to Camille stats so that you could reflect. I'm checking my file.
Are you both using the 3.5.2 version of the randomizer?
We both have the same randomizer
It
version.
should be, yeah.
I have 3.5. I don't see the 0.2.
At 3.5
Yeah, I
in the
got
title of it,
3.5.
but the actual full thing is 5.2. You just may not see it there in the title of the thing.
Application, properties, details version. It doesn't say in the details version.
Yeah, see, I always name all my folders and stuff with all the version numbers of things. Helps me keep track. Because I technically have the older randomizer versions as well. I just don't use them.
All right, well, just to make sure, we can look at the stats. So I got Camille up here.
Yeah, because Camille's at 12 and 11. Bros was a different number.
No, mine's at 1211.
Oh yeah, we're the same.
Trust me, if you read what something must have fixed because earlier it was definitely different.
I was on Lux.
Were you on Lux? Wait, go to Lux for me. No, I was definitely looking
Well,
at Camille for Camille. Well, you know what? It's fine. As long as you guys are even now, I'll look back and see what the heck I was seeing. Yeah, you guys are lined up now, I'm pretty sure. So, okay, that's good. Okay, so Joe gave the basic explanation of what the heck the idea is behind this gem percent. Just to kind of, I just have both the things side by side here. So, all the treasures are going to have gems only. Stores are not randomized. No random equipment either, so you get what you get for vanilla. I do think it's kind of interesting you have heroes learn vanilla spells at random times, so they'll still learn their stuff, it's just now randomized. Monsters, no randomization basically, but much higher drop chance. Monster scaling's not crazy because the base is like 14 to 700%, but now it's 50 to 200% across the board for the stats and the gold and experience for the monsters at least. Everyone's allowed to go to Grime Tower. None of us ever like going there, but I mean, it is an option. You do have the defense, HP, capture, petrify thing disabled for the bosses, so no cheesing them. You're going to have to actually fight them. No using petrify. As Joe mentioned, XP is still very fast, but the gold requirements are base. Magic boost and magic power is also vanilla as well. Seeds are buffed a little bit, 4 to 8 for them, so seeds are going to be good to find. And then the scaling's not crazy. Instead of all the way up to 700%, it's up to 300%. So it's randomized, but not as wide of a range. And I think those are the key things. The quality of life speed ups, they're all the same.
That is it.
All right.
I have a conundrum against this seed and what we're running.
And I think we're both going to take the same starting character.
I wonder who it will be.
The one with the lowest speed. Oh.
And I got a little advantage. I am just single L for luck, so I'm going to be saving the frames here.
Joe's taking the L nice and early. He's going to save some frames on you.
Oh, man. Yeah, don't worry. I also have to check emails in an hour, so.
Yeah, you're going to be at a huge disadvantage. All right. Both racers ready?
All right, so I'll do the countdown here because I got the timer and that's in real time, and then we know in real time when to start.
Good call.
I'm down.
All right, so here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Go ahead and speak however you wish, bro. It's your ride now.
Alright, so here's how 7th Saga works. No, I'm not going to go into a whole spiel of things. And in fact, honestly, for some of it, I will actually ask for Joe for confirmation for certain things compared to vanilla because he is more knowledgeable about the vanilla stuff. Having said that, of course, you guys are going to check the initial chest. It's usually a good idea to in the palace. The only thing you do run the risk of normally in a typical randomizer would be running into a trick. That's usually the only thing you don't want. But since you guys have changed it to gems only, you know it's safe to check. Question is, what kind of gems will you get? Joe's gonna go ahead and take the opal. Might as well, since this whole thing is based around the gems. Now, interestingly, because you guys are both Lux, you have vanilla equip chance for your heroes, so you actually will not be able to get really that much in terms of equipment for Lux. Now, your partner, though, be a completely different story, unless you decide to go Lux will me and just go just with your fists. Now the stores, while they may not have randomized items, actually the gold is not. Is the gold really not randomized either?
The gold is randomized. The prices are randomized.
The prices are randomized. The settings, I guess when it has the boosts, when it's at just 100% reduced gold GP requirements, that doesn't make it just vanilla prices.
There's equipment costs and item costs, so there are two sliders for that.
Oh, see, it's always a matter of like which one. Okay, gold requirements. Oh, sorry, because you have reduced GP requirements, and then you also have gold requirements as a different slider on the scaling. Okay, that's what's changing it. So some things could cost a little less, down to a third, or they could be 3 times as expensive. It's not as wild as the randomizer would be for 7, because that's the whole thing, right? The randomizer could be a 7th of the price or 7 times the price. So if you guys happen to come across some really useful items, well, I guess actually since the stores are base, if you know the vanilla game more, you know the better stores for what items they're going to have. And if they are pricier, you may need those gems to give you the money you need. Because while the monster's experience and gold is randomized, it's only a little bit. So you're not going to get tons and tons of gold. Bro is already in the castle. Now, obviously, since we're doing this, and with me commentating over this, you guys are going to get a little bit of knowledge about what the other player is doing.
You should just spoil. I feel you should flat just spoil.
Well, I feel like I will go ahead. However, I will not necessarily spell out everything, but I might just say, okay, so-and-so got his rune, or he's entering here. But I'm not going to say where the town is, right?
Oh, no, not that.
Right.
No.
Not to that
Well,
level.
I think we should be able to see it on each other's games, so...
That's true.
But I imagine for the most part, you know, you're focusing heavily on your own, right? You may see out of the corner of your eye, oh, he's fighting so-and-so, but I'm not, you know, if I'm racing, I'm not looking at my opponent's map to see, oh, where is he going? I mean, I'm going to go my way for the most part anyways.
Now, this is an interesting randomization. Look at this.
So, Joe has
Potion 1s.
tested Potion 1s, and they do give a very interesting amount of HP.
Oh
Basically
no.
useless.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
They're not great. They're not great at all. Because we're not going with wild numbers of the traditional percent where your stats, well, I guess the monster stats aren't wildly crazy either, but neither are your gross and everything. Fights might not be so just one and done, punch everything and it's instantly dead and tons of money and experience flying everywhere. So you may have to actually rely on things like the potions to keep you up, at least until you get the water rune when you can use it in battle. But to be perfectly honest, usually in the randomizers, I don't really use the water rune too much, just because it's usually not necessary. You usually have overpowered healing spells and whatnot anyways, but here it may become more useful, because this is closer to vanilla than the traditional percent gets. And in vanilla, I know from back when, I water rune all day.
Gold was tough. You needed to preserve every
You
inch
needed
of
to preserve
gold.
your gold. It was annoying to farm, and it was a free heal. The only thing was that it was limited in how much it could heal. Eventually, it becomes harder to keep up, and you can only do it in battle. But still, it was better than nothing. You lived off of the water rune in vanilla.
Up the speed run.
Speedrun, I must have
use
used
the
it.
water rune very often in the speed run.
No, I'd imagine not. But if you're playing just basic vanilla, playing as a kid, 12 years old, and you're playing this game, yeah, you're using the water rune.
Oh yeah.
Bro's coming back with the whistle over to Ramos. Joe is already at him, giving him the 1-2. Like, oh, that was the actual 1-2 there. Joe's having no problem there. Ramos is down. My brother unfortunately ran into an enemy, and I could see the expression on his face.
I've hit 3 trees so far.
It's not nice running into when you're trying to get to Ramos, especially if it ultimately ends up getting you killed, because then you waste all that travel time. Bro's now looting the castle. Bro's at Ramos. Bro uses the whistle to instantly down him. And because you guys are playing both as Lux, you have the your vanilla spells, but they're going to be randomized. I don't know, does that setting change the order that you also get them in?
Yes. It changes the order and it changes the levels.
So for all you know, you might get Laser 3 right off the bat, or you may just never get it if it's at a really high level. Surrounded on all 3 sides, but he can just punch his way to victory, especially after one of them just flees. I think the statue realized he was that end of that. Bro is still looting the castle for remaining gems. Joe has opened the gate, the key of Earth. And since we do have this as gem percent, he can safely check the chest and won't run into a trick. Tricks, I think, are, depending on your settings and what kind of run you're having, can be 50-50. Sometimes you're fine with running into them. Other times, running into an early trick can mean you're just dead. And actually, for that matter, will there be any tricks at all in this?
I suspect not.
No tricks.
Oh, they could appear in the field, right? Oh, no randomization. They will not.
No randomization, and I'm thinking there's
Enemies
no,
are
like,
all vanilla.
Yep.
yeah, and there's no special. Because the only special thing that can happen with chests that I pointed out is that even with whatever, when I do like the seeds only percent, there's those 2 chests in the towns that are fixed to being seeds, and they never change. They don't get randomized to other seeds. They're kind of special, but that's a different case. In this case here, I don't think there's ever a fixed chest that always has a trick, so they're gonna get randomized out. Randomized out for just gems. See how tough Python is. Well, that's how tough Python is.
Oh, well, okay.
But again, we don't have crazy random monster scale numbers of, up to 7 times tougher. So at most, they could be twice as tough. Out of the cave. Well, that's
I
an
see
interesting
flashing.
spawn there. Joe opts to go for this town first, which I think is a good play.
Pelagian, there's Chaos right there. Chaos was right there.
Chaos! Lux takes a nice rest while Brand 2 works his legs. Oh, I guess he got tired. Now the search for partners. The question is, who will they find and who will they take? Well, to start with, Joe has his first and... Oh, actually, well, he has his first partner, and an interesting partner, considering my comment from earlier. Bro has now exited the cave. Bro sees flashing dot. He must head towards flashing dot. Bro is opting to go for the wind rune first, rather than prioritizing a town. Technically, if my brother were to get knocked out right now, he would get warped all the way back to the to Bonro, where he'd have to go through the cave again, but he is able to successfully navigate the cave without running into anything deadly. Meanwhile, Joe is now entering the cave to get his wind rune. It's usually not too bad to go for the wind rune just straight away because it is right there near the entrance. You're usually not too bad off. If you get a nasty RNG spawn of dots, though, and you run into just that one enemy set that's wild, it could be trouble. Having said that, again, that is more so like the traditional randomized percent. Whereas here, since it is vanilla monsters with only moderately changed stats, it's actually significantly less dangerous. I think my mind is already set. It is always typically set in, I could run into anything that could kill me in this moment. Whereas here, it's closer to vanilla, so it's actually probably not so dangerous. Is opting to get the town map, not the town map, the world map from the dude. I forget the dude's name. The dude you help.
Gain.
Gain, yes.
Gain. We have Dispresso.
Asuna does not want to join her brother's party. He says his party sucks and there's no booze. Well, for my brother, he is not getting Wilmy. Wilmy says, I don't think we're a good fit. Get away from me. Where's the booze at? How about Legis? Well, Legis thinks that my brother ain't got what it takes. So far, no one wants to join my brother.
Now, with Wilmy as a partner, there is a higher probability that I could get betrayed. So
Oh, don't worry. I've
think-
spent all my betrayal RNG, last week. A 1 1/8 and a 1 32nd.
Okay. I just picked up the brown coat, equipped it. I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but the regular coat was +10 on defense. The brown coat +14, so it wasn't really that much of an increase.
It was interesting because you did actually get to equip it at least, and it was an improvement because I believe Lux is the only person who can equip that, which kind of makes sense given the place you're finding it in, since it's all about having the Mellingham in the past and all the, I was going to say the androids, but, the Robocops.
The Robocops.
Usually, more than anything, I often would just pick up the brown coat just to sell potentially for some cash, especially if the gold numbers are all super randomized. It could be worth a decent chunk if I'm desperate for an extra 1,000 to buy a sweet weapon that I found. Joe is at the second version of Python. My brother is in Zealous now and is still looking for a partner. He's gonna guarantee get a partner right now, though he's getting Brand 2, but Brand 2 can't actually do any fighting.
Maybe he'll get Camille or Olvin, or Valsu.
Meanwhile, Red Python is down on Joe's side. Olvin, at least, is willing to join the party, booze or not. At the very least, my brother has somebody. Generally, I feel like if you are planning to take a partner, it's fine to take anyone to start with, at the very least, just for turn economy. Camille is interested in joining, but my brother decides to not take the Blue Bomber. He does decide to take the Topaz that's hidden in the corner of the room, though. While Joe is on the next little continent. Typically, I think is it in vanilla you often will farm the brains there?
We farm them outside of Pell and Guns.
Ah.
So I just spoke with the mayor in Igus. That is a key point because that determines who the trader is going to be, and it's also going to determine the level of the trader. So the trader's level is always 5 levels above your main character. So since my main character was level, let's see, level 16, that's going to make the trader level 21.
And they become a fixed level. So the betrayer, or the trader who's taken over the town, will stay at 21. They will not continue to increase in level even if you level up now. It is different from later on with the Sky Rune, where they are continuously becoming stronger than you, which is a problem in vanilla, where if you become too strong by the late game and you have not gotten the Sky Rune, you actually can make that fight sometimes almost unwinnable. I'm not sure if it's 100% can be unwinnable, depending on who you are and who has taken it, but I know you can create a bad situation for yourself like I did once as a kid, where I was Valsu and Asuna had it, and I could not for the life of me beat her. So I had no choice but to take her as a partner and kick out, I think, Camille from my team.
Camille.
Because I needed it to proceed, so I had 2 magic users going into the past, losing both magics. Joe is doing some shopping, buying and selling. So, at least for now, is opting to keep Olvin, taking with him, fighting some man-rots. One of the more disgusting enemies that I did not like as a child, both in name and in look. I thought they were just very creepy. Joe has found Bone. There seems to be a decent cluster of things going on over in this section of the continent on Joe's side. Joe sees another flashing dot, decides to snag the town for wind warping later.
Don't have any beat protects right now, but I'm going to go for it.
Since we have vanilla, or rather, vanilla shops and gems only in the chests, anywhere where you normally would expect to be able to pick up things like a beat power, a beat agility, a beat protect, anything like that from the chest, you're not getting it now. So if it's not in the shops, you will not have access to it. So you better have a spell that can do it, or you're on your own. And considering Joe is running with the 2 characters who learn some of the least spells in the game, Lux only learns 5, and I forget actually how many Wilmy learns.
7, 8.
Well, maybe
I'm a pro. That's how far behind I am, Joe.
Best split of the game, right?
Best split of the
favorite
game.
split.
So you did get the 2 best characters. I'm in deep, deep trouble.
So I think for Joe's side, at the very least, the money is going to be more important for base supplies, since we are running closer to like a vanilla game. I feel like you are going to have to rely on those base items more, which means if they are pricey, the money will come in handy. Since magic isn't wildly overpowered, you're not just going to be one-shotting bosses with your, Firebird spell. You're going to have to actually duke it out a little more. Meanwhile, my brother is having a little bit of trouble with Red Python knocking out the old man. Deciding to cast a blizzard on him, which, it hurts. It hurts real bad. He's not dead, but oh, that's really close. Oh, but Python's healing sucks, and Python is barely dead. Unfortunately, because Olvin is dead, he will not get any of that experience. Meanwhile, Joe is in the castle. He is working his
Anybody
way.
want to make a guess of who the trader is going to be?
It's Legis. It's gotta be.
Valsu.
Bee Gees.
Hey, it's Legis. All right.
I'm getting betrayed this game. I can feel
I'm
it.
the Betray Legies.
So typically, people playing this, especially when doing races, will, or I guess even if you're doing just straight vanilla, it's a good idea to agree to join the trader, because that opens up the front gate to the castle, which means in case you actually lose this battle against them and he takes your runes, you don't have to travel underneath the graveyard and all that again to get back to them to just fight them again. So it's a good safety. As kids, I'm not sure if we initially knew that, I think my first instinct was, you should join me, and I thought, no, I can't possibly do that. You're evil. So, I just said, no, let's fight, and if you die, then you have to walk all the way back. Meanwhile,
This
my
is not
brother...
looking good.
it's not looking good for Joe, as Joe has been KO'd, so that agreeing to join is going to come into play because he's going to have his runes stolen, but he at least can just go right back to the throne room and try again. Meanwhile, my brother was able to agree Wilmy this time. He has now talked to the Igus old man, so now his apprentice will be set for Patroff.
About 18.
Give or take 18, my brother says, so the apprentice themselves
No.
is fixed.
I'm 13, I believe.
You're 13. Okay, you're actually much lower. So the apprentice will be 18, and we do not know who it will be just yet. It would be really funny if it was actually Olvin. I think that would be perfect for the story where you decided to leave him behind for Wilmy, so he's going to get his revenge on you. Meanwhile, Joe is back out on the overworld, traveling around. Brother takes a quick rest at the end. Joe is going for the item everyone should go for if you're not using randomized stores. Picks up a nice little bottle, which will come in handy, I'm sure. I cannot remember exactly when that is first purchasable, but it is sold in... Oh, it is actually... The bottle of agility is sold only in 5 towns. It is only sold in, I don't know how you pronounce it. We always say paddle, but it's probably like Padal, Pang, Sonda, Palsu, and the airship. I always thought that it was sold much earlier elsewhere, but apparently it is not. Joe is selling some gems. Diamonds are actually worth quite a bit. I believe diamonds are worth typically 10,000 normally, so they are actually worth a significant amount more now. So any diamonds will be really good to find for cash. My brother is traveling through the cave, or rather just the underside for Patroff. Skipping some of the chests. Some of the chests are not quite along the path, and you'll have to spend a little bit of extra time to go grab them if you really want them. So sometimes we opt to skip them.
I'm taking Trader Patroff guesses.
I'm guessing it's going to be Olvin because it would be the perfect story.
It would be.
I'll guess Camille.
No, not my boy
Mega Man.
Camille.
Oh!
He would never be evil. I'll forget that I'm a few seconds behind. It's neither. It is Valsu.
Oh, I just realized I forgot something.
Now I'm not worried about the levels because Valsu is the slowest.
So rather than fighting the old man he betrayed, he gets to fight a different old man.
Speaking of Camille.
Camille is hanging out in Pell, Joe's side. Joe is picking up Digger Quos, who is needed to get the water rune from Gunts. And much like Rantu, Digger Quos likes to go nuts on the screen. I hope that never gets fixed if the randomizer ever gets an update. I don't expect it would, but if it ever did, please do not take that out. It is one of the best parts of the game. Valsu is down on my brother's side. Well, my brother's going to get some level ups off of that. And actually, now that I think about it, Olvin, having been dead earlier and missing out on that experience, won't matter for my brother since he switched to Wilmy. Joe is doing the water dance.
Forgot to save, so we'll see if we get a betrayal.
That is something to keep in mind. If you don't save and you get betrayed, do you stick with it or you revert back to your last save? Because I know that typically in the randomizer, we probably don't save often enough. We just assume everything will be fine. Now, Legis has the highest chance of betrayal, but Wilmy is up there. I think Valsu is the lowest chance, 1 in 32.
Wilmy is 1 in 116. I'm sorry, 1 in 16. All right, I'm safe.
Alright, Wilmy did not betray. There's the Grime Tower, everybody's favorite tower. Shout out to the Grime Tower there. During one of my practice runs when I was building, I can't remember which percentage run I was designing, but when I was doing it, I had a instance where Valsu betrayed me. And it made me laugh a lot. I just wish I was recording it because it's such a low chance. I've never seen it happen, but it did, and so.
Valsu, it's 1 in 128 chance.
There you go.
So
It's
less than 1%.
Wow.
Yeah, very. I thought it was maybe like 1 in 64, but yeah, it is a very low chance. So the fact that he betrayed me was hilarious. All right, Joe is back to give Legis another try. If you lose to the Patroff boss, you can just go do some other things, like get the water rune and all that, especially if the towns aren't too far apart. It's not that big of a deal. He's not going anywhere. Unlike the other apprentices, when you fight them out in the wild, if they beat you, they'll take your ruins, and they have a chance of leaving where they currently are and just going to a different town. And if that happens to you, you don't have any wind balls, good luck finding them. But at least with the Patroff boss, they will not move. They will stay in place. And when they are defeated, they are gone permanently from the game. Unlike the other apprentices from apprentice fights, where they will eventually respawn, back looking for revenge against you the next time you talk to them. They'd be angry. The Patroff boss stays dead, so if Joe kills Legis here, which unfortunately Legis got the better of again with Ice 2.
Ooh.
I know that playing in vanilla, I was very afraid of Ice 2 because anytime any apprentice used it against me, it was always strong.
You know what? I am gonna go out and fight some brains. Hopefully they give good experience. If they don't, then I have to come up with another strategy.
Brains in vanilla are worth a hefty amount of experience. They are very good for it. Just because you go into further territory doesn't mean everything's just instantly better in terms of numbers. You will come across enemies that are more annoying to kill and yet give less experience. So if you're grinding, brains are a good one to go for.
Do that.
Joe has Thunder 1, but not enough MP to cast it. He's gonna have to punch his way through the demons. My brother has reached Bone. Gonna venture down. Only has some magic, but is expensive to cast that fireball. And Legis is hanging out down in the shop. Brother's opting to go talk to the little boy about Bonro. The question is, what will the boy give him? And it has been decided that ye shall take the boat. So actually, you get parole in your party. I forgot that that does happen. More often than not, it's the remote control, which lets you go through the cave. That brain is dead on Joe's side. He got the 1-2 wombo combo. My brother is gonna be getting on the boat to travel to Pandam.
Ooh, look at that.
Pretty good experience from the brain. I personally always preferred getting the remote control and traveling through the cave. I just always felt like it was a more natural way to travel around the continents. I don't actually know off the top of my head if the enemy sets, which one's kinder in terms of how tough they get when you travel. I always felt
Spares
like
are not bad for experience.
Despairs and dooms and all those, they're usually a pain because they're very tanky, I think, compared to a lot of the other vanillas. I think those are often things you don't want to run into if you're doing a vanilla speedrun. Aren't they bad to encounter?
It's not too bad in the speed run, but they could be a pain in the neck. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
They don't give a lot of experience, and they take resources to fight.
Exactly. My brother has traveled across the boat, has left Panam, found another town, is checking out the shops. He is opting to buy some harps, which will protect you from the vacuum spells, both vacuum 1 and 2. Right now, Joe and my brother are on different parts of the world. Despair after despair, while my brother is facing down some coons and
Mutants.
I always thought they were a funny enemy because the way they attack you is they point their finger at you. Like that's supposed to do something, but somehow it hurts. Joe's reached level 19 for his Lux.
kind of looking for brains. Oh, there we go. This is what I want.
Joe has found the jackpot, a double brain, and gives the first one the 1-2. Buckle my shoe. It's a healthy boost of experience. That's a level up. And a level up for Wilmy as well.
All right.
2 levels up for Wilmy. Joe has breached the level 20s with which the Elnar boost has already come into play. It is toggled on. It's typically toggled on the randomizer. So if you're playing vanilla 7th Saga in the US release, they decided to make the game harder by taking away what we call the Elnar boost, where essentially if you learn your stats, say 1 to 3, you'll gain per level in the first 10 levels. When you hit level 10, it then becomes 2 to 4, and then level 20 becomes 3 to 5, and then 4 to 6, and so on. So you get bigger and bigger numbers as you level. They decided in the US release of the 7th Saga to take that away for you and your party members, whether it's just you and your apprentice that you have with you. But the NPC apprentices out there in the wild, they are not affected by that, so they will begin to out-level you, essentially, in terms of stats the longer the game goes on. Why the Skyrim fight becomes dangerous if you level up too much. But with this, the Elnar boost is in effect all the time, so the party members are getting that boost just like the NPCs, so they won't be getting left behind in the dust. Joe is reattempting the Legis fight in Patrof, is able to dodge the ice too, which is huge. Also, he's coming in, I think, with more HP by now. Legis took a hefty punch. He's going to heal, but his heal is garbage. Now Legis is dead. Long live the king. The king is dead. Now Joe will get the star ruin. Now we can proceed onwards. He also gets his other ruins back. The question is, will they be out of order? No, they are in order.
That's because I got the water rune after I died to Legis.
Yep. It always bothers me when my runes get reordered and it's just not in what my brain perceives it as the normal order. Though I think no matter what, it always puts the wind rune up top, it feels like.
It feels that way to me too.
Which is arguably the most important one. It's the one you use, I think, the most frequently. I think regardless of what kind of run you're doing.
More the merrier.
Talking to Parole, who has now joined the party, so he can jump on the boat as well. So it seems like the Patrof fight allowed my brother to catch up and get ahead a little bit in terms of content progression. I'm not sure what level my brother is at the moment. I wasn't paying attention, so I'm not sure his higher level between the two. Joe gets the AC down in the chest bone, which is again a special chest, which seems to always have the AC, even in the seed percent that I have. It doesn't randomize it to a different one, it's always there, which is good because AC are one of the better ones to get because speed is king.
I don't have Bonro on my map, so I gotta do a little exploration for it.
Did you never go to Bonro? I guess not, huh? You went
No.
Yeah, because it wasn't necessary. So now you do need to get there because you gotta take the boat.
Or the other option is I could go through Grime Tower.
You know what? You could. You very well could. But the question is, will you? I think we know the answer.
I didn't think of that until I started looking for Onro.
Now, if you know the layout of the Grime Tower, it's probably okay, I suppose. If you don't know the layout, it might not be worth your while because while looking at it now with an actual set of maps, it's not the worst, but it's also the worst. I hate navigating through there. It's kind of confusing. You loop through a bunch of the same rooms, but in different parts of it, so you get kind of confused. Like, wait, which way does this one go now? Am I going up, going down? And it can be a pain. If you are playing vanilla, though, there is a pretty sweet illusion shield in there, which is one of the better shields in the game. If you have Camille or Olin in your party, you can be worth snagging that. Brother is staring down a double mutant. Helping to use some of his B powers. And his HP is not looking too high. hot, and it's not going to look too hot anymore because he's dead. Wilmy is unfortunately getting pummeled right now. He's a little bit behind in the levels. Not too much. I think he's, what was it, 17 or so, whereas Lux is 20, 21 now for my brother. So Wilmy will miss out on that experience. Joe is taking the nice scenic boat ride to Pandam. If you are playing the randomizer where the towns are randomized, it may show that you're going to Pandam, or rather, it shows it there where it is on the map, because that cutscene is, I think, a fixed thing. But when you come out of Pandam, it will be in a randomized location. It will not necessarily be right next to that coast, but for the cutscene, it needs it there. Joe's stocking up on some mirrors, which will prevent him from getting petrified and actually reflect it back at the opponent, possibly petrifying them. Goes against a boss. With the current settings, Petrify will not work, but it will at least act as a protection. Getting petrified sucks, getting vacuumed is worse, because that's insta-kill. So getting both mirrors and harps is always good to do. My brother is in the jail cell, grabbing the jail key hidden under the table, which was always one of my favorite little puzzles of the game, which was very simple, but I just... As a kid, I thought it was just a cool little thing where it's not just handed to you. You have to think, well, why is this table here? Well, let me try pushing it. Aha! It's the same revelation that I had when I discovered you could push the gravestone in Patroff. It actually scared me as a kid the very first time because the grave tells you basically, leave me alone, and all of a sudden the grave was shaking, and I didn't understand why. I thought the grave was mad at me. Didn't realize it was because I was pushing up against it. I thought it was kind of neat though, it was a little puzzle. My brother is grabbing the amulet hidden behind the column in the castle there. Joe's doing his own shopping for his own set of harps, so he'll be protected from vacuums. Navigating the fire to go face off against the Dorito Man, which in this case won't be super underpowered, but won't be super overpowered either. My brother did remember to grab the star. I think, Joe, a couple of races back, I think you forgot to grab it once, which amused me.
That's correct.
Because I did that to myself as well, somehow. I realized it the moment I started talking to him, so there was no turning back, and I realized, well, this is the end of me. It is literally impossible to fight Doros without the star. I always thought that, well, maybe it's just tougher, because now there's just 3 of them, but I believe he's just, I think you can't hit him. I think he just dodges everything. Wilmy is still taking a beating on my brother's side, while Wilmy on Joe's side has reached level 21. Is tanking for the team, and he tanked so hard that he is now dead. He will miss out on this potential experience if my brother kills Doros, which he probably will. Doros is trying to hook on some magic that doesn't exist for Lux right now. My brother's opting to use an M water to bring back Wilmy so that he doesn't miss out on the experience, which I think is a good call, because usually the bosses will give you a hefty amount. You don't want to be missing too much of that. Unfortunately, Wilmy's punch did jack all to Doros, but he is now dead. That is a level 21 Lux, level 22, level 23. Do I have level 24? Nope, level 23 Lux for my brother. And Wilmy will finally catch up in some levels, and then Firebird. Joe has now reached, I'm going to say Padal, because I'm pretty sure it's not pronounced Paddle. We called it Paddle as kids.
I call it Paddle.
Paddle. Well, you know what? Then we'll just continue to call it Paddle. Paddle with a different spelling. Now, reaching Paddle is nice because Joe is finally able to buy some B agilities. Right, I think this was the first town now that you reach that has allowed you to purchase them. Since speed is king, getting bottles of agility will be very helpful against some of the tougher fights. Particularly if you don't have anyone who has the agility spell. I forget who can learn the agility spell. It's maybe
I think it's just Valsu.
It's just Valsu. Valsu is the only one who can learn agility. I always thought there was at least one more, but no. Joe is opting to grab the life recovery, or just recovery in the item, in Paddle. I always like grabbing that one just because it's not too far out of your way when you're talking to the man about the Moon Rune. anyone's name that I didn't catch and don't remember, I'm going to call him the man and the dude. The bro, the broski. Meanwhile, bro is in Brush, checking out the item shop. Buying back some M waters, because he did use one on Wilmy. I always hated having to use M waters in vanilla because I think in vanilla they were 1200.
That's correct.
And they are very useful for rezzing your partner if you don't have the revive spells, but it sucked when your partner gets down 3 times in a row and you just think, well, there goes all the money I just saved up because I gotta buy M waters again. Well, I suppose actually that's if you're only using them in the wild. I suppose you could go back to town and pay to have them revived, which I think typically is cheaper. There's the North Tower, everyone's second favorite tower. Technically, you can enter the North Tower from this side, travel through it, take the warp all the way to the Grime Tower side, collect everything in there. You just can't exit out the door there because you don't have the, if you don't have the key, that is. So even people in vanilla who don't have Olven or don't get the key, you technically can loot the whole place. You just have to go backwards. But I think unless you're really going for that illusion shield, I don't think it's necessarily worth it. I can't remember all the items that are in there, but that's the only one that stands out to me that was worth anything in particular. Because it's an item you cannot purchase, it is only found in the tower.
Going to lose.
Oh,
Has managed to find the cave to lose, tucked away there. Finding lose is often one of the time sinks that can happen in a randomizer run. Sometimes you just can't find that cave, and like all you need is to find lose, and you can basically get up to the next continent if you get the Sky Rune. But sometimes you just can't find it, even though you feel like you searched the entire continent, not realizing it was just that one little tile that you just barely didn't extend the map for, and you walked right past it. It can be a deciding factor because you can lose quite a bit of time wandering just trying to find it. And it is 100% necessary because it is the only way to get over to lose, and you must get there in order to send the Sky Rune out into the wild. I believe that the Sky Rune Apprentice is not set until the dragon is defeated.
I believe
So
that's
actually,
correct.
On that note, if you're playing the randomizer, you could technically run into the dragon outside of lose, which upon killing him, then I think allows the Sky Rune to spawn out there with an apprentice.
It has
Since
happened.
We have not randomized the monsters, you must go to lose to fight the dragon. He's looting some chests while Joe is exiting the other end. Finds lose immediately, which does give you a warp point. You can wind rune to lose, which was good that they did that, just in case. It would be a pain if you couldn't warp there and you managed to lose to the dragon. Joe's opting to not fight the dragon immediately. Instead, he's checking out the island and finding the upgraded brain. Is this an S brain? Silver brain?
Yep.
Meanwhile, my brother is fighting the children's stealer.
The children stealer.
Ooh. Okay.
Pretty good amount of experience. I think not as quite as much as I think it would have liked. Brain
Yeah.
something.
I don't think I'm gonna grind them.
Yeah, you'd hope for a bigger increase than that. And Wilmy once again goes down on my brother's side. Wilmy is there to just honestly take the hits right now. Lux is having no issues dodging. And the scorpion lady, the serpent, is now dead.
Sister
Lux
to the
is
rock.
leveling up. Wilmy is also leveling up, catching up even more to Lux, 24 and 22 levels respectively. Now, while it is, I think, technically not necessary, also he is grabbing the sapphire where the serpent was. I do like that they did that for a couple of bosses like that and one of the Pisons where you can get an M water. Searching the spot where the boss was is usually a good idea if you don't know the game, but you know that, you just will find some nice items. You find a sapphire there. My brother opted to not talk to the kids, not even to see their cool party trick of disappearing. He is trying to save the frames. I usually opt to see their disappearing act, where my brother likes to have his split. I prefer to spend my time watching the kids go disappear.
I have to catch up on all of those all those UX frames that I'm losing against Joe.
Joe has picked up the Cloak of Fire, which I know is an item in the game. I know it exists in a place. I always forget where, so I never get it, but Joe has grabbed it. The Cloak of Fire and Cloak of Ice are interesting accessory items. I think they're one of the... Well, I guess some of the accessories do have a few extra effects. Those reduce... The fire one reduces, I think, is it fire damage by like 50% or something like that?
I forget the exact percentage, but it definitely gives more fire resistance.
So yeah, so you can pick that up and equip it if your character can. Get some fire resistance or ice if you're grabbing the ice one.
The ice one is here in Serpent's Castle.
Yep. That one I think you have to go a little bit out of your ways for. Not crazy amount. I think you have to take like a left path.
Where I just came up, you would go left, and then it's behind a pillar.
Yeah. You have to hide a lot of items.
And that's pretty common to pick up in the vanilla speedrun.
Yes, I know that I've seen that done. The ring and the amulet accessory, doesn't one of them help protect you against like vacuum or something like that?
Ring protects you against vacuum, and the amulet protects you against the status changes.
Right.
Like defense 2, HP catcher, MP catcher,
Gotcha.
petrify.
I think there's nothing in the description of those, right? Like, isn't that something you just have to know or learn elsewhere? Or does it tell you anywhere in the game? Firebird did nothing to those enemies for Joe's side. My brother has defeated the dragon on his side, so now the sky rune is loose. I think it'll be... it must be on his waifu, because that means he'll have to kill her for it. He does not have enough things to catch that fireball. You can cast the Firebird, though, which does no damage. Joe is now facing his serpent. I don't think Joe will have a problem with this one. Start off buffing his defenses. Lux is now 26 and Wilmy is 24 on both side. Joe is all powered up against the serpent. Now proceed to punch her in the face. My brother is leveling up on some S-brains. 333, I like that number. And the serpent is now dead on Joe's side. My brother manages to learn Laser 3, which means actually Joe is about the same level. You actually both are pretty close in levels. Both of you angle partners. Joe takes the free sapphire. Also decides to leave the kids. Hopefully they'll find their own way back home. I'm actually a little surprised that the game doesn't require it to have you go into the room to at least see that they're there, or even maybe talk to one of them, but you do not have to. They will just be free on their own. They'll find their way back home. Doing so will now allow them to get the moon rune from the man, the broski that I don't remember the name of.
The man.
Depending on when... It actually, there's a couple of things. It depends on whether you've he has talked, if you have talked to him and he has asked you to help find the kids. That determines where he will be with the moon rune. I believe there's 2, maybe 3 different ways that it can play out.
4.
Joe, if maybe you can spell it out for me.
There are 4 different ways.
4?
4 different ways.
I always do it where I talk to him, and get it into lane. That's the way that I always do it, so I'm actually not sure what happened. I know if you don't talk to him, you have to go find that guy in Zealous. I think, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I think it's like Penguin or something.
Yeah.
Hedgehog, maybe?
Pagan.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, so typically, as Joe said, I also typically do that and then find him in Tulane. I usually, you know, accept his quest to go find the children. If you don't, he'll be in a different place. But I think also, is it fighting Doros and Biltham? Is that the other deciding factor?
No, it is the war between Belane and Telane.
The war between Belane and Telane.
If you have, I forget which exact one. If you have asked to,
Oh, find the princess.
to find the princess, but then war occurs, I believe it is stolen and it's held by a prisoner in the Belane castle. Maybe it's just 3.
Right. Something. Yeah. So there's a couple of factors that can determine it. Though usually I feel like the war between Belane and Telane is usually less of a factor because I think for the most part we just would skip. Or you don't necessarily bother grabbing the Crystal of Peace from the Luz Castle and showing it to the king to, you know, resolve things. So that state is usually just in the default of just don't resolve anything with it. Just let it be as it is.
Yeah.
Because you can either leave it as it is, show them the Crystal of Peace, and end the war, which I think reduces the prices of goods. I'm not sure if it's across the board or just in those towns. Or you could deny showing the king the Crystal of Peace, which then says, well, we're going to go to war then, and then I think the prices increase. Speaking of that town, my brother has found one of them with the blinking dots. My brother is going to go off into the castle where Joe has entered Biltham.
Didn't find Tulane yet, so I am just going right for Doros.
My brother, in the meantime, is picking up the Moon Rune. Here's a chance for a betrayal. Did he save? That's fine. He didn't get betrayed. And now that I think about it, because I am a little bit behind, I probably would have heard my brother exclaim, "No!" had he been betrayed anyways. Joe is working his way through the castle so he can fight his Doros. So it looks like both of you have cleared out a good chunk of this continent, just in a different order. The best way to tell who's ultimately in the lead will be who gets to the airship to fly over to the ice continent. Because you can tackle this big main continent in a couple of different ways, depending on whether you take the boat to Pandam or you take the cave all the way through to Dawain. That often will kind of steer you one way or the other, but also with the randomization here of the towns, you may come across them in a different order, so you'll fight the bosses in a different order. My brother, speaking of bosses, has found a boss fight, an apprentice fight against Legions. Oh boy, my Legions, probably my #1 favorite character overall.
I'm opting to play it safe.
My brother is playing it safe because he does not want to lose to the betrayer.
He doesn't want to have the same experience as me.
Actually, I'm gonna call out Gamba on that one.
And Legis is dead. Yes, Magus had the worst instance of accidentally talking to him and ended up losing his runes to him, and it killed his run, essentially. It was not pretty. Meanwhile, Joe has used his star and has made Doros now vulnerable. Power up, because it will take a little bit to whittle him down. My brother is stocking up on B powers. Always want to make sure your B powers, protects, and agilities are stocked up on. Doros raises his hands to attack, but is dodged. I always thought that he was just trying to make like a scary face, just going like, ooh, booga, booga. But it is no good. It did not scare away Lux and Wilmy. Doros is now dead. Which now frees up Biltham. If you enter Biltham and you have not fought Doros yet, no one in the town will basically talk to you or do anything. They will talk to you, but they will have nonsense. They all just basically bow down to Doros because they've all been brainwashed essentially. But once you've defeated him, the town opens up and becomes normal, where you can actually purchase from the stores and whatnot. Because I remember finding it weird that I went to a store and they said, "Sorry, I can't sell you anything. Doros says so." So I said, "Well, this town is whack. I'm out of here."
We'll only sell weapons to Doros.
Only Doros is allowed to have our weapons, except for he probably can just take them for free because he's the king. My brother has talked to Tararsa and has now taken his plane over to the ice continent, so my brother is a little ahead, but Joe is right behind him. He is about to grab his moon rune from the man, the dude, the broski. Another chance for betrayal. I usually root for betrayal no matter who's playing because it's more interesting to see. Nothing. So not unexpected.
Gonna save first. Just in case.
I've been saving a lot too. I've saved far more in this run than I ever have.
Don't want to have something bad happen. When
I'm
did
actually
I
doing
save?
something here. I'm manipulating the dragon fight. So what I'm actually doing, I saved, I reset, and then you can actually predict the exact moves that dragon is going to do. So like the first move he petrifies, second move defense 2, I think it's attack. Like you know exactly what he's going to do, and he doesn't do defense 1 for a while, so.
Ooh, that's a big
I
one.
usually- Once in a
Joe's
while I'll
using
do that.
Speedrunning knowledge to manip the dragon a little bit. We usually just go in guns blazing and hope for the best. My brother is staring down a knight and is it a bee knight and a sword, which is one of the more interesting enemies because he can drop the sword. It's really a sword called Sword. I don't know if that is purely a English localization thing or if it was actually called something like that in Elnard. But the sword is an interesting item because you can only find it, you cannot buy it, and it actually is worth targeting because if I find where it is in here, where is the sword? The sword is actually a weapon that a character like Valsu, as well as Asuna and Wilmy, can equip. It is actually the only sword that Wilmy can equip, and one of 2 swords that Asuna can. Valsu can equip 3. So if you're looking for a weapon upgrade, it might actually be not too bad. Joe is now warping around, looking for his Skyrune apprentice. Also, I completely blanked out. My brother fought Leeches, so I was wrong about the Olin fight for the rune. Oh no, I was wrong about it being Asuna, actually.
Maybe mine will be Asuna.
Which means it must be Asuna for Joe. The only character we know it cannot be is Leeches because he is dead. He's dead as a doornail. He's 6 feet under, and no M-Water is going to ever bring him back. Meanwhile, my brother is checking out his grave, looking at his future. Tyson's going to put him 6 feet under. Chaos was defeated by the 4 light warriors. Rip Chaos. But it doesn't matter, because Pison's going to kill Lux for good. He may not kill Lux, but he might kill Wilmy. Lux hasn't really died, but Wilmy's been taking all the deaths for the team.
Guess who it is?
Guess who it is? It is Asuna.
Says she has no intention of sharing it at all.
Joe's gonna have to take it by force by obliterating her. Now, if you cannot beat this guy with an apprentice, there's a chance they will offer to join you. In which case, you'll kick your other partner out. They'll join you, and you will get the Sky Rune then. It may not be ideal. You already have your party composition solidified. Joe does not have to do this here because Asuna is dead. Since we have the Elnard boost in play for us, along with the fact that we're not at absurdly high levels, the fight wasn't too bad. In the original release, and you over level, that fight can be dicey. My brother is dodging back.
No!
Very weakened Wilmy. Unfortunately, I understand now why my brother was making that noise over Discord, because Tyson is deciding to be a real jerk. Tyson decided to employ the screw you, I have money, full heal. He pulled the Hyper Potion full restore maneuver from Pokemon. Right when you're about to defeat the trainer's Pokemon, he decides to full restore him. So my brother has to whittle his HP down again. He is opting to not heal Wilmy, so leaving Wilmy on death's door, hoping that his dodging will be enough to save him. Incoming vacuum. He has harps, so even though it didn't work, he will find anyways. My brother is making this wonderful face right now because Tyson has decided to full restore again. Maybe he'll run out of magic sometime soon. Maybe not. While Joe is facing off against some spiders, and by facing off, I mean he is fleeing the battle because it is not worth it. There are plenty of times where it is totally fine to run from a battle because it could be an annoying enemy set, an enemy set that's not worth the experience, or you're just in a hurry to get somewhere. In this case, Joe is in a hurry to get cursed. Thou art cursed. Pain is unbearable, I believe is the original text.
Yep.
I think the randomizer changes it. It is now 7 o'clock, so my brother will need to check emails soon enough somehow.
I'm already
He's
looking.
fighting Python.
I'm looking at the emails. There's nothing that's come through yet.
He's checking the emails. He's looking for emails from Python saying, "You suck, I'm gonna heal again, except for I'm dead." And Python didn't even give good experience for all that hassle. Because of this whole M-Python debacle, I think it's given Joe a little bit of a chance to do some catching up. And do some shopping. If you are a magic caster, like Asuna or Valsu in particular, and your magic is taken from you, sometimes you will have to rely on things like B-Ice to get you through, at least like in vanilla, or close to vanilla in this case. I know that I did. B-Ice and B-Fire saved my butt.
I actually see a problem coming.
Joe looked at his menus and saw a problem coming. I did not see what he spotted, so who knows? Meanwhile, my brother has his magic power returned. The old man realized that he was a fool and he cursed the wrong people. Decided to lift the curse. Which I always found kind of ridiculous because even when you point out to him, I'm not bad, and he realizes, oh, you're right, well, I can't do anything about it, and then you go get the moonlight, and he realizes, oh, I guess I can do something about it after all. Never understood why he just couldn't lift the curse. At the very least, he could have said, well, I'll lift the curse, but you have to promise to bring the moonlight, and then I could be like, okay, it'll make my journey easier that way, but no.
Oh,
He
crap.
wanted to fight Python without your magic. Brothers entered one of the
I
prettier
think
looking
J-Pop just figured out the problem.
Oh,
Don't
he
worry.
might have. And you know what? I think I understand what you guys are talking about because we are now against Monmo on my brother's side, who is a special enemy. The whole intention behind part of what the whole magic and taking away was is Monmo is typically not defeated by physical. You're typically meant to kill him with magic. Maybe especially fire magic, or at the very least just magic damage. So because your magic was taken away, the game expects you to go get the moonlight and then get your magic restored. So that it's much easier to face Monmo. And then ultimately you'll go back to the past and whatnot, and you'll be perfectly fine. However, you can find that if you are using the randomizer, or if you're just willing to butt your head against the wall a lot, if you defeat Monmo and proceed on without your magic, you can actually warp back to the past without it, but upon reaching the past, your magic is restored. I don't know if that was a failsafe on the designer's part, or if it was just something overlooked where it just assumes you'll have your magic, so it's just on back there, because who wants to fight Monmo just physical without magic? It's the faster way to kill him in the vanilla game.
Ooh, nice.
The flames are dead, triple flames, triple the experience. Lots of good experience there for Joe. Meanwhile, my brother is slowly pounding away at Monmo. By pounding away, I mean it's a slog. It's not looking good. Wilmy seems pretty useless. He's trying his best, but his Fire Fist does not count as magic, so it does not do extra damage. Meanwhile, it's Joe's turn to kill Metal Python. Let's see if he's kinder to Joe, or if Joe can maybe just beat his face in faster than my brother did before he gets the chance to heal. I looked away for a split moment, so my brother reloaded his save. It's because
the save actually came into play. I'm so happy right now.
Oh, I just realized, yes, because you were stuck in the Monmo fight. You decided to abandon ship while you could, because at that pace, you are going to be stuck for quite a while. Punching for 40-ish damage is not going to cut it against the Monmo with that much HP. My brother is opting to punch some brains to death and some defeats for some experience. Defeat actually gave a pretty good amount of experience. It's actually very similar to a brains experience.
It was very good.
Base brain. Joe is slowly punching away at Python. He has no magic, so unless he uses a B-Ice or B-Fire, he is stuck with only his fists. Doing an okay amount of damage, not ideal. You wish you'd be doing more, but at least it is working. The question is, will Python full restore, or will he be kind and just let his face get punched? Python is spamming the defense too. Occasional whip. Tyson's getting down into territory. Oh! Joe unfortunately gets full restored on. Now, I believe my brother's Python did it twice.
Yes.
Only twice. So if Joe can get away with only one full heal, he might still gain a little bit of time from the Python fight. Because we don't have overpowered magic where we can just cast an Ice 2 that just does 2,000 damage, we're not going to insta-kill any of these bosses. I think even if the bosses happen to randomize to 50% of their stats, I feel like they'd still be tough enough at this point to not be instant pushovers, which always leaves open the possibility of them getting off that heal spell. It's getting really close. One more, and Python is now down. So only one full heal. Joe can now have that garbage experience from Python. At least Python could do would be worth more than that. It's going to be such a slog. Says that he has won this round, but he will still be around. Which is not true if you're not playing randomized enemies. That is the last you should see of Python. If you're doing the randomizer with randomized monsters, you could actually run into Python multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
That is a triple, I forget the name of those enemies threat, but Joe decides to bail out. gets his moonlight, which will allow him to now go get his magic back. The question is, what are we going to do about this Monmo? We have two characters who are not the best in terms of magic, both in terms of number of spells and magic stat currently. B-Power's defend attacks will only do so much damage against Monmo. It might simply be a matter of getting strong enough and just punching your way through. Because we do have the options for Vacuum and Petrify and all that disabled for the bosses, we cannot cheese our way around Monmo. I say we like I'm participating. We cannot cheese our way through. Little did you guys know that I'm running the seed alongside you guys. I'm not. I could have been, but I'm not.
Ah!
Different grind spots here for both of us.
My brother is opting to grind against some brains who decided to flee, denying my brother the experience. Joe is fighting some dudes with fancy handiwork with that pole there. Like those guys you see on the corner advertising with those boards, the ones that do those cool flips and they spin it around really fast. And
All right, gotta do something else that's cool here.
Joe is going for the vacuum. Sucks him up into the void. There's an insta-kill. The Soydex, not worth that much experience.
Rather go for the firefighters.
Yes, right. We did learn that the flames are good experience. They're worth a good 1,500 or so. Joe manages to find a pair of them. It's about a 3,000 gain if you can kill them both. Brother is taking a stroll along the beach. Still looking at those brains. My brother, he loves long walks along the beach at sunset.
I do.
I'd find it hard to imagine someone who doesn't like a nice long beach, a long walk along the beach, unless maybe they hate sand. If you're Anakin Skywalker, you probably hate the beach. Joe gets a nice, healthy 3,000 experience. I think my brother is slightly ahead on levels. I'd have to see on the next level up to see where my brother is at. Not by much. They're about ballpark same. Because the experience numbers weren't wildly altered, I don't necessarily see either player getting vastly ahead of the other. I think it would take a bit of grinding at a really optimal spot for one and a suboptimal for the other for a real difference to emerge. Joe has struck gold again, finding a triple flame. Zaps him with electricity, but the flames are not that deterred by it. But they can't really do damage to Lux. Lux is too much of a tough tetragen. That 3 times fast.
Much of a tank.
A tough tetragen tank. Meanwhile, my brother has opted to face Monmo again. It seems like Lux is doing a little bit better in terms of punching his way through. There to help cheer Lux on. He's not really doing too much on his own. At this point, Lux doesn't really need the help. Brother should be able to take down Monmo. And Monmo is now down, which means that is a hefty amount of experience. Lots of level ups for Lux and Wilmy, so my brother is able to head on to the final quote-unquote fight. Which turned out to be not the actual final battle.
Final rune. Sort of.
It was always a nice little twist. I thought as a kid, it's like, oh man, I'm at the end of the game. But you're not. Although, to be fair, the past is significantly shorter than the present part of the game. But still, to see that there was a whole other part of the game was very cool, I felt like, as a kid. get a sweet music change when we go back to the past. But Joe is now fighting his Monmo. Tosses a B fire in his face. It does not quite, just shy of 100 damage, which is, it's damage, but it's not a hefty amount. Meanwhile, Fire 2 has done nothing for Wilmy. He's now getting his MP sucked away. Brother is now facing off against the big bad himself. You can't see him shrouded in darkness. Brother's opted to buff his stats before fully engaging in him. I think if I'm playing a vanilla or more standard run, I would do the same. If we were doing just a flat-out randomizer where everything's wacky, I would just immediately start attacking and hope that he's really weak.
No, because of the moonlight bug, I didn't want to risk it.
Well, there is also the moonlight bug, yes. Though supposedly, I think, did someone maybe post in the Discord? Oh, and he is now punched. Lights out. Garaso is now dead. I want to say somebody had posted or mentioned that even when doing an attack or whatever, a different action at the start, I think they somehow still got the moonlight to bug out on them.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was me actually.
There you go.
But I think what happened was you have to wait till Gariso attacks before it'll bypass that soft lock.
So it's less of your action on the first turn, it's more so giving him the turn to attack and then free
Correct.
up the bug.
I think that's it.
That very well could be.
Then I'm
Meanwhile,
gonna buff
my brother,
every time.
has learned that Garaso is now dead, and it was King Lamel all along. It's Gorcia, who for some reason, in typical villain fashion, decides to send our heroes to the past rather than just killing them outright. I don't understand why he didn't think that that was a bad idea. Why would you send them to the past where they can then fight you there when, if you're so powerful, you should just kill them now? But like a Bond villain, they have to give you the chance to escape their trap or come back and defeat them. Joe has gotten Monmo down to about half HP, so he is grinding through it. It is not as fast as we'd like it to be. The magic has been fairly ineffective given their stats. While Monmo is being a jerk, casting HP Catcher, which actually is kind of annoying here.
Ew.
For the damage Joe's doing right now, that HP Catcher actually is mattering. But at least Laser 2 is cheap for Joe, so he can spam it. Or Laser 1, sorry. I said 2 because it's costing him 2 MP to cast. Meanwhile, Wilmy is just there cheering him on because Wilmy does not have the stats to back up his magic, not to mention his Fireball is way too expensive to be of any use.
If this were vanilla stats, Wilmy would be able to hit him for some damage.
Yep.
So it definitely seems like Monmo's magic stats rolled high on this. And Lux would be doing more damage than he is with Laser 1.
Yep. Monmo naturally has the high magic resistance, but with the randomizer settings here, it seems like he rolled a little better than that, which makes it even more of a slog. We've even taken even just vanilla stats would have been faster than this. I have seen an old LP from someone playing the 7th Saga, bro knows who did a solo Wilmy run, so I know that Wilmy on his own can get through this fight. It's just actually kind of a slog, even with the vanilla stats, but at least he can get through it. He does have fire spells to use.
Oh my goodness.
Meanwhile, my brother is currently in the past, walking past the fountains, opting to not enjoy their beauty.
Alright, I apologize. I'm gonna have to turn off my microphone.
My brother is turning off his microphone, which means I can say whatever about him and he can't talk back. Also, yes, Coolio. running alongside would have actually been funny, but then I would have to commentate my own too, and I think watching my own game, commentating my own game, and commentating for 2 other people's games, I think would be a little too much for my brain. I'd have to grow a couple of extra set of eyeballs, and maybe even another half side of a brain to help with all that keeping track of things. My brother is now at the set of doors to find the secret passage to get to the airship. It will be door number 1, door number 2, door number 3, or it is not door number 1. Actually, I will not say the doors because that is something that Joe will have to go through himself most likely, so I will not say anymore. He will find out on his own which door it is. But for right now, Joe is still fighting Monmo, who's getting lower. My brother says he is sorry. I don't know how much I believe him. Chat, sound off. How much do you believe my brother? How sorry is he? Monmo is getting ever closer to being finally defeated for Joe's side. Few more lasers to go, and Monmo will be dead. I see a few more, like it's really close. Stop doing that HP catcher, Monmo.
I do hear a little background noise there.
It's coming through a little bit, bro. Our brother didn't realize he had not muted everything. Meanwhile, Monmo got a little bit of HP back, but he's still very close to death. Hopefully this phone call will distract my brother enough and he'll make a grave error, opening up the way for Joe to catch up. Monmo has literally a sliver of health left. He just needs to die. And Monmo's finally dead. My brother was able to, somehow, I didn't quite catch it how, but he was able to actually punch his way through with Lux doing about, 200-something damage per punch, which made it significantly faster than having to cast lasers, but there weren't too many options here.
In Elnard, you can actually do that with Wilmy. And we do that in the speedrun.
Mm-hmm.
You just get Wilmy up to a certain power stat, get him the sword, and you can punch right through Monmo.
Yep. Hit just a high enough number to cross that threshold, and you can actually start doing some damage. So while they designed Monmo to be not fought with physical means, you can do it. But clearly they
My guess is in this, either Lux's strength might be high enough where he can punch through, or Monmo's defense is low enough where it's easier to punch through.
It is possible. Could be a combination of the two even, because unfortunately, being Lux and Wilmy, we did not have a bunch of super options in terms of weaponry. Lux can only equip so many things in the game. In fact, he can only equip the 2 fists, the one he starts with, and the one sold in Millennium and the airship at a nice $22,000 or 22,000.
And if I saw that correctly, I think your brother just went in to do the tune-up.
I think lately he's been doing the tune-up, even if it's not necessary for the thrill of it.
Looks like it's going to be an easy fight. Yep.
Easy enough fight for Joe, who has now taken down the big bad. Meanwhile, my brother is checking out the shop, opting to finally use some of those gems. I think partly because of how things rolled and what characters you guys chose. I think the gems came less into play here, but it's certainly coming into play now. I think if you guys were other characters that can equip lots more equipment, it would have been a lot more shopping for weapons and armor. particularly the weapons to help punch through things. King Lamel has been dead for 5 years. His real name is Gorcia. He's now going to send you to the past where you can kill him there. Meanwhile, my brother has left the building to go find the other town. It's not too hard to find it because the section of the continent that he's on is not that large. I can't hear it on my end, but my brother has the sweet music change for the past regular battles. Joe has found an emerald that I did not know existed in the game because I never bothered checking, usually at this point, in a life recovery. The life recovery is one that I would have maybe had more of a chance of finding because little patches of trees like that is something you kind of just learned to check. Whereas the other spots, you kind of just have to know because they really are just kind of random. I think without like learning from some other means or a strategy guide, it's pretty tough to find some of the gems that are just laying about because there's way too many tiles to just search randomly. I only ever found the key spot ones that were behind some kind of landmark or something unusual. So my brother is a little ahead so far in the past continent, but Joe is not that far behind. I think some of the RNG of possibly some of the encounters that they come across, as well as how the remaining bosses play out, could still flip things. We could have a whole Python situation where perhaps the bosses will decide to fully heal themselves. Maybe Foma could be another slog. Joe is opting for a reset after searching part of the continent in order to save some time. Meanwhile, my brother has the letter and is now bringing it back. I always found it funny that you can literally just sell the letter to a shop and the game will, at least in the randomizer, will allow you to do so, but it does not soft lock you because the character, the NPC down below, will still act like you have the letter. Tafuro, I think his name is?
Arufo or something?
Yeah, something of that nature. Yeah, Tafuro. Even if you sold it, the game is just scripted to give him the letter when you talk to him. And then I forget the timing. It's a good 30, 40 some seconds, I think, for the scripted walk sequence. There's no way to make this any faster. You must slowly follow him. Though at least with the randomizer, you do not have to talk to all the scientists in the room. In the vanilla, you have to talk to them all at least once before you can talk to him again, and he'll allow you to go see Dr. Fail. But with the randomizer here, you can just talk to him again immediately and skip over to Dr. Fail. So at the very least, we have that as a time save. Now, I always
Right over
interpreted
here.
that the brown coat that you find in the game was, I believe, in the spot where Tofuro ends up. I think that's the same tile. Maybe it's off by one. I just always imagined, oh, it must have been one of them that drops the brown coat, and that's why you find it in the present time. I think my brother accidentally talked to Dr. Phil twice, I'm assuming. Meanwhile, Joe has reconfirmed that he is from the future. Now go save the world. Joe will now have to find which door number it was that leads him to the airship. Joe is going for a strat. And actually, I just realized Joe does not have to. Joe is opting to pay the man 7,000 gold to get the ride.
This is gem percent.
The money comes into play here. He does not have to randomly search, and I did not catch which door it was, but I will say it was not an early door. I know it was not that. I looked away eventually, so I did not see which door it was, but it was not the first floor, I'm pretty sure. So Joe is most likely saving a good amount of time by just paying for the airship. Having said that, it does come with a different cost, where now when he arrives on the other side, he will not be able to talk to the pilot to just instantly get booted out. He will have to leave the ship on his own, which does not take very long, but it is a little bit of a time loss in terms of that. Meanwhile, my brother was able to take down Foma. I didn't really catch much of the fight, but it did not seem like Foma was that much of an issue. If we were doing straight up randomizer, sometimes Foma can be the brick wall you hit, where it's just a slow fight. Not to mention Foma's attack animation is very slow to deal with. I think it's one of the worst bosses to get stuck on because it's like casting Blizzard 2. It's the longest animation. You'd rather have a boss that just does a punch animation at you and that's it. Joe is immediately heading out of town to go get the letter.
Changed my mind.
Joe has changed his mind, opting to sell some of them gems. Meanwhile, my brother is searching for the last couple of towns. Seems to be checking his emails. I actually cannot confirm for sure. Joe has also decided to get the only upgrade for Lux, which in the grand scheme of things, I feel like, given the fact that in vanilla you get it this late in the game, he is also opting to get the black armor. I don't think my brother went for that. I always felt like the attack jump from the vanilla 5 to a 20 was kind of a slap in the face, considering it's towards the end of the game and it's decently pricey. You'd think that if it during the time period where tetragens are everywhere, you think that that weapon upgrade would be more than that, because a lot of the other characters get access to weapons that, you know, can get close to 100 almost. Some of them actually hitting 100 or even like 120 for Ulvin's final axe. Lux only gets a 20, which, I mean, that's a vanilla 15 upgrade. Nothing to sneeze at, but you'd wish it'd be a lot more than that. My brother is in the cave, ignoring the other tetragens who need help. He's a heartless tetragen who is not helping his brethren. My brother has interrupted his rest. He's a fool. He's now going to be sent to the Dark World. Let's see how, I think, is it Goron? Let's see how Goron is. Brother's going to go ahead and just power Lux up before he starts swinging away. Meryl, swing away. Wilmy again just decides to hang out, cheer Lux on, be the item man. Wilmy actually throws a punch and is actually able to deal some damage. Probably the most he's dealt all game. Still, Lux is doing the brunt of the damage, and Goron is now dead. He's worth a ton of experience. I'm not sure at this point how much you really want the levels anymore. The extra power will continue to be useful, I think. Joe turns in his letter. There isn't much he can do to return the favor, but he's going to show him the project. Now Joe gets the walking cutscene. I think it would have been funny if somehow you were able to speed up this and kind of like Digger Quoes and Brand 2, if maybe this cutscene could have been bugged out and maybe everyone's sprites go wacky fast, like through the walls, would have been hilarious, but alas, we just have to sit through it. Sir Gorsia has instructed nobody to let let nobody through. My brother says otherwise. He says, "You're gonna let me pass whether you like it or not." But she casts the slow animated Blizzard 2. When doing the traditional percent randomizer runs, it kind of sucks when Blizzard 2 becomes your best spell because while it's powerful and it's an group spell, it is the longest animation. You prefer a faster one. Speaking of, have another Blizzard 2. But it doesn't ultimately matter. My brother is able to continue to use Lux to punch his way through, doing a hefty amount of damage. Wilmy is able to chip in a little bit to actually matter somewhat. Griffan is now dead, worth about the same amount of experience as Goron, slightly less. Joe has now reached Foma, is also powering up. Curse on Gorsia's ruins has been lifted, and Sorrow is now dead. D.E. dead. Brother uses an exit gate to escape the cave early. Typically, you want to have, I think, at the very least, 2 exit gates. There's like 2 big caves that are worth exiting out of. Foma has now been defeated. Which means Mellenham will now sink. Meanwhile, my brother is looking for, I think, the town that he needs. The town with no name. That's not true. It actually has a name, but I don't ever remember the names of the final towns.
Guanas.
Look it up. The town of Guanas. Now, something that we always have to decide when taking the runes to fight Gorsia is which runes do we grab? You must get the Wizard rune and the Light rune. They are the only 2 that are absolutely required. I think the one reveals him, and then the one allows you to now start effectively damaging him with things. We often like to take at least the Water rune, because cutting HP in half is usually going to be a worthy investment. HP is usually high enough that it's going to count significantly enough to matter. The remaining runes are usually a toss-up. You can take the other ones like the Star rune and whatnot to also lower defenses or magic, or the Wind rune for speed. Depending on what rule set you're going with, you may or may not take it. My brother did not take all of the runes. I did not see all of them. I think he took maybe 4 of them. Joe has interrupted his rest. He's a fool. My brother signals 4. Either that or my brother's playing golf on the side and is just shouting 4.
I'm coming
brother's
back for the
coming back
tail
from
end
being
of this. I have taken 4 runes. Water and wind are my extra runes.
I know we usually like to grab the Wind rune at the very least as well, because speed is king, so we always like to have that on hand. Meanwhile, Goron's giving the Blizzard 2 treatment. And my brother is at Gorsia now. Goron is down. I think given the percentages that we gave for the bosses, since it is not possible for him to have an absurd power stat or magic stat or any kind of stat on top of magic power not being boosted, I don't think my brother will die here. I don't think anything's going to one-shot him. Along with the fact that he is now capped out on Lux's HP at 999. And once again, Wilmy is just along for the ride.
GG.
And that is time for
Thank
my
you,
brother.
Joe. I was waiting for Zero to announce it because I know he announces from the past.
I do. Now it's from the past. About a 139 something for you.
Come on, Joe. I know you're close.
Joe is not that far behind.
I really think it was just the Legis in Patrov.
Legis and Patrov was definitely huge. I think his M-Python fight went a little faster.
Usually I do more grinding earlier on, but this time I didn't. And I think that may have slowed me down a bit.
I think the other biggest time loss was definitely Monmo. I think if Monmo wasn't such a brick wall, I think you could have been a lot closer behind my brother.
Yeah, that was rough. And you got HP captured a lot.
Which made a huge difference when you're only, zapping for 20, 30-something damage, and he's sucking away 50 or so at a time. I think the only thing that would have changed things would have been if either of you, honestly, but I think more so maybe if Joe had a different partner, if Joe had someone who could have blasted with more magic, maybe let's say, and was able to plow through Monmo instantly, maybe it could have made the difference to catch up towards the end. But since you guys were running the same characters, and with the bosses not having absurd numbers, it was going to be tougher for there to be other major brick walls that only one player would encounter, not the other.
I do admit, I want to try this again, and hopefully the stats roll to where we feel like Lux and Wilmy aren't the best characters for us to get.
I do think that was definitely a huge factor in the gems being not as relevant as they could have been. It certainly was helpful for paying for that expensive upgrade for Lux, as well as some of the items. But you guys basically had to ignore the weapons and the armor shops because there just weren't going to be upgrades for you. I think if you had at least one partner who actually has upgrades to look for, you'd have spent more time looking. Gems would actually be being flung around more to get the money necessary. Because having a base fist of 5, give or take, versus being able to buy a weapon upgrade that gets you up to 70 damage, right, or even more if the randomizer rolls it higher, would make a huge difference for some of the fights. Be enough to get over the threshold for some of them, or just outright just being able to punch things faster. I personally am a huge fan of having much higher power and or weapon than better magic, just because animation time, punches are faster than spell casting. So if I can punch my way to victory fast, I'll take it. But it's not really too much of an option for Lux and Wilmy because they get hardly anything in terms of weaponry. Same for armor for that matter, but the armor wasn't really anything too much for you guys. You weren't dying a bunch for lack of defense per se.
Lux's hit points really counter that really
Lux
hard.
getting up to hundreds and hundreds of HP certainly helped keep him alive. Wilmy had a decent amount too, but your Wilmy was getting obliterated.
My Wilmy was the meat shield.
He really was just kind of taking it, while Joe's Wilmy didn't die nearly as much. I'm not even sure if he even died once, to be honest.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think yours stayed alive. My brother's was dying every other fight for a while. He just kept missing out on things.
Thank you, Game Boy F9. We love the randomizer.
We love the randomizer. Could you just change one of the options for apprentices to always want to fight you, please? Thank you.
That would be fun.
There might be that option.
There's the option to make them like always join. There's no option to always fight you. That's the only thing I wish was in there. Because that would make Highlander percent more solidified. It's the only part of it that I wish could be tweaked. Because if they always wanted to fight you, then it's not a whole like, he doesn't want to fight me, doesn't want to fight me. It's more so just like, all right, it's let's go, let's fighting, and it's more about finding them quickly than rolling luck on whether they want to battle or not. But it is what it is.
I actually would like a randomize button for the randomizer where it randomizes all of the things, so that you could get wild stuff.
like how like in
Double
game
dodge.
You can randomize your custom look, right? You just hit random everything for me. Just
Mhm.
random mods for all this. Just change everything and just don't tell me and just go.
I would want that, and we would.
Wilmy finishes him off.
And Wilmy gets the
Hey,
final hit.
GG.
So about a 5 or so minute difference. So not a huge difference.
No, I think just Legis and Patrov was the only thing,
And Monmo.
And Monmo.
and Mama. Okay.
I think Monmo was worse just because at least with Legis, Joe was able to go do some other things that are relevant anyways. You're going to have to go to Guns and the Water Rune and all that, so it's not a huge deal. And opening the gate, you don't waste too much time walking back. But Monmo, there was just no way past it. He just had to grind it out.
I know it was. I'm actually really. I never save. I almost never save, and I saved before I went to that fight, and I did 24 damage or whatever, and I said I can't, and I left. So
You were there for a bit already, and you finally decided to pull the plug. If you had stuck it out, you would eventually have gotten through. But I think that would have really evened up, possibly even giving Joe a slight edge. Probably more evening it up, really.
the level ups actually help the bosses later as well, right? I actually would have lost time on the later bosses, not on Monmo, in the end,
Yeah.
if I had actually tried to stick it out.
Yeah, because then by that point, you were strong enough to where you were able to punch most of the bosses pretty quickly. They weren't a problem. Even Wilmy started doing some damage.
That was
I think another strategy on this, which I didn't think of from the beginning, since we know we're going to have Monmo, it's a good idea to select a character that actually has some magic.
Yeah.
Because I think that's one of the stats that I wasn't thinking about at the beginning. And when I saw Wilmy's stats, I was like, all right, cool. Wilmy's really high with his stats. Lux is really high with his stats. Let's go Lux and Wilmy. I wasn't really thinking about Monmo much, and I think that's one of the things that actually became a challenge with this.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I thought about it, bro, when you called me out when I talked to Camille and denied it. That's the reason why I thought it. And I decided to turn against it because Camille's speed was 4. But considering how Wilmy was just kind of there and dying for me, I mean, maybe it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, he really didn't do much for you in the grand scheme of things.
Camille, I
Yep.
really did think about picking up Camille for that reason.
I definitely think that these settings are worth running again. I guess on that point, do you feel like anything needs to be changed, or is it fine as it is, and it's just more so things rolled the way they were here because of the characters you picked?
I've run this a few other times, and the times that I ran it, it was actually a lot different. So I think if it was a different seed number, I think it could be different.
I definitely think so too. Different seed number, and then just not Lux. I think the only pairing that's going to be like this really is Lux and Wilmy, because I think everyone else at least will have better access to some certain things that these two are missing. These two are kind of very unique in the sense that they get no equipment, they get not that many spells.
Thank you, Lopan, for the follow. I have to say, I would say I actually have no clue how this would go because it was Lux and Wilmy. It really heavily relied on randomizer strats. Now the vanilla equipment, right, and the vanilla items, okay, but how the gems actually interact with this, actually feels still like a mystery to me. This is the only one run that I've done. So this was probably the worst way to figure out how this seeding would go. And I would like to try it again. Like, it feels great. The little bits of randomization, a little bit of struggle. We have to grind a little bit, but it's not vanilla, It's on the faster side, so it's more fun. And yeah, I would like to do this, to try this again. This is the newest iteration of all of the some odd percents, where my brother and I, we have made up, no gold percent, seed percent, Highlander percent, well, we originally called it cheater percent, that would be the any percent category, and now we've got gem percents. I think it's one of the few things in the randomizer that we have overlooked. So it's really exciting to try to make this game, skewed a certain way when you play it.
Yeah, conceptually I do like the idea of gems only, gems percent, just because it's trying to tap into something that's usually kind of just like a whatever, in the normal randomizer percent, we just kind of find gems, okay, whatever, I don't necessarily care. Here, you're actually going to care a little more because you're actually going to want it for the money, because you're actually going to, because the chests are all the same, just gems, you're not going to find weapons now, for the most part. I guess unless a monster drops one. And then the stores aren't randomized. So. Yeah.
One thing that could make this more interesting is if there was a way to turn off the gold from the enemies.
Ooh.
Because if the enemies didn't give you gold, and then you have to get all your gold from the chests, then that creates a whole new mission.
Yeah, because there's no way to, because with this I can't, the slider, the most you can do is just, down to 100% to make it, vanilla. You can't turn off the gold. Not to mention gold and experience are tied together. You'd almost wish that they were separated, and you could, like you said, make gold not drop, because we have an option to toggle it so that you get no experience, right? There's no option to toggle 0 gold. That'd actually probably be the easiest, right? All monsters award 0 gold. Make that a separate toggle. That would open that up, because then you really, really have to rely on all the gems to find, because it's your only money source.
Yep.
Yeah, that would I think make it the most interesting, because then I think that would heavily then really lean into the idea of it. But we can only do what we can with the current settings, which I think still works. It's just obviously not ideal.
Keen Okare Nasa, yeah, the original is a grind. It most certainly is.
But yeah, I'd be definitely down to do this again. If you guys race again, I wouldn't mind doing this. I think this worked out okay. I do wish that I could see the footage in pure real time, but it is what it is. For this game, it's not the biggest deal. Like we were saying earlier, it's not a frame perfect, split second game where action happens. I'm just a little lagging on the commentary, that's all.
Yeah. Well, we could talk about that a little more another time and see if there's a way that we might be able to do it.
Yeah, because this one's kind of just like the first iteration, so yeah, maybe we can change it somehow.
We're trying new things, chat. We're trying to get this exciting and all together, and we're finally able to make it happen. I know Joe and I have talked about having a commentator, while we race, and I thought I may be biased, but bro, I thought, you did a great job. You get to talk and explain things that what we are doing, and, I believe that always adds to what's going on.
I thought it worked really well.
Yeah.
The commentator.
I mean, obviously, the only thing that really does change with it is you guys do get to hear about certain things, ahead of time from each other, but I think not enough in the grand scheme that it's going to make the biggest difference. It's not like, now I can save 15 minutes because I'm not going to go do that. Because also I have to, even if there was something like that, I just wouldn't mention it. Like the doors, right? I didn't mention which door he entered. That way it's, otherwise Joe could then have just gone straight for the door. But of course Joe had a different plan already. He was like, I'm Lux. I can pay for this.
That changes. Every time you enter and exit the building, the door number changes. So it wouldn't necessarily be the same door.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not bound to the seed.
Okay, even though it's a different or same seed. Okay, so then that wouldn't matter.
Actually, this was your interview, bro, because me and Joe, we're gonna get real serious about this, and you're gonna have to carry the whole commentary all by yourself.
Put the commentary on my back though.
Cool. Well,
I'm
thanks,
fine.
Zero, for coming on and commenting. Thought you
Yeah.
did a good job,
Thank you.
and we'll have to do this again sometime.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
And thank you, Joe. Oh, for getting this set up. It looks amazing. God, it looks awesome. And for always inviting me and for coming up with Gem Percent. Shoot, I can't wait to do more of these. You got the world record in Gem Percent, right?
What was your time again?
I got 139 right now.
Oh, you got the world record.
Oh, Jesus God. I need a world record to beat. I don't have... Besides
Well, I got
one.
like
World
141.
record.
I need one more fake world record to go after.
Well, it's okay. It's about a year and a half ago I started on it, and it's just been kind of sitting on the back burner. It's not perfect. I still have that one other idea that's tapping into something that we haven't tapped into for this game.
I remembered.
I know, but I did like 1.5 test runs of it, and I was still working on tweaking the settings, and it's been on the back burner. So at some point I'll finish doing that, and then because I have to stream it first. I have to stream it myself first to demonstrate it and to set a base time, and then you can come in and run it, and then get a better time, and then that's that. Because I usually set it once, and then I don't run it again. So at some point, someday I'll have another percentage thing come out that you can try running some at least, see how it is.
It's fun. It's absolutely fun. Oh, thank you, bro. Thank you, Joe, for
Thank
this.
you, J-Pop, for wanting to race again. It was fun.
Invite me all the time, please. I look forward to it. As long as it fits the schedule, I'm down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I am going to sign
right.
off. So, thank you both, and I'll catch you later. Have a good weekend.
All right. You too. Take care.
Later.
Bye.
Later.
Okay, and to you, chat. All right, I'm going. Hi, Sia. Okari nasai. Yeah. So, thank you guys. I hope this was fun and interesting. I can't wait to look at Joe's feed and watch how it goes and this, that, and the other. Right, listening to my brother commentate over it while we're doing it, I hopefully was a lot more exciting and inviting than usual. So that is that. As you all know, I have emails to look at too. I see stuff coming by, but nothing important that I've had to report, luckily. So, thank you, everyone. See ya. Thank you for coming by. Coolio, Lopan, thank you for the follow. Keen, Mag, Gamba, Anonymous, Sis, obviously Bro, obviously Joe, Tetsuo if you happen to still be around, and my fellow 7th Saga lovers. Word phrasing, J-pop. The people who love the 7th Saga Pelindran. Thank you, Speedrun Joe. The legit 7th Saga speedrun is always fun. Always fun. So, thank you all, everybody. Have a good day, good night, go weekend wherever you are. This is the weekend, so here we are. Hopefully it's a good one. Remember, if you come across a loved one, just be sure to tell them that you love them. You never regret it. Thank you, guys. Have a good night. And I'll see y'all next time.